Now let's discuss the areas of potential liability in our practice of nursing in the Philippines. These legal principles are not just theoretical. They are practical tools to help us navigate our professional responsibilities, protect our patients, and safeguard our license. As nurses, we often work in high-pressure environments where quick decisions can have life-altering consequences. Understanding the laws that govern our profession helps us act ethically and responsibly, even in challenging situations. Think of this discussion as the legal compass you will use throughout your nursing career. In nursing, liability often comes into play when actions or inactions result in harm to a patient. Most liabilities are governed by tort law, which deals with civil wrongs. It's important to distinguish between two types of torts: unintentional torts, such as negligence or malpractice, where harm wasn't intended but still occurred due to failure to meet standards. We also have intentional torts, where the nurse's actions were deliberate, such as threatening or restraining a patient without justification. Common examples of liability in nursing includes medication errors, failing to verify the right patient, right medication, or the right dose, failure to observe signs of deterioration like increasing heart rate or unusual behavior or manifestation. Another one is poor communication, not reporting critical patient information to the healthcare team. Imagine a nurse failing to recognize signs of sepsis in a patient. This negligence could lead to serious harm or even death. Under Republic Act 9173 or the Philippine Nursing Act of 2002, this could result in disciplinary action for failure to meet professional standards. Now let's break down two major legal categories that intersect with nursing: crimes and torts. A crime is a violation of public law. It doesn't have to be intentional to be punishable. For example, if a nurse unintentionally administers a lethal overdose of a narcotic, it could be considered manslaughter. Crimes are categorized into felonies or serious crimes like second-degree murder, and misdemeanors, lesser offenses such as minor theft or violations of workplace rules. On the other hand, a tort is a civil wrong that leads to a lawsuit. This might include a nurse breaching a patient's confidentiality or failing to prevent a fall. Example is a nurse who restrains a patient unnecessarily, and he or she could face a lawsuit for false imprisonment, which is an intentional tort. The patient's right to autonomy is supported by Article 32 of the Civil Code of the Philippines, and in this case is violated. Unintentional torts are more common in our nursing practice. These include negligence and malpractice, and are also called professional negligence. Let's unpack these terms. Negligence is the failure to provide care that a reasonably prudent nurse would provide under similar circumstances. Another one is malpractice. This is negligence that occurs while performing our professional duties, such as administering incorrect medication. There are 6 elements of negligence. First, duty. The nurse had a responsibility to the patient. Another one is the breach of duty, meaning the nurse failed to meet the expected standard of care. Another one is foreseeability. The nurse should but failed to have anticipated the harm. Fourth, we have causation. The breach directly caused the harm. Fifth, we have injury or harm, which means the patient suffered actual damage. And sixth, damages. The harm resulted in financial or emotional loss. For example, is a nurse failing to monitor a patient after surgery, which resulted to undetected internal bleeding. This breach of duty, which any prudent nurse would have avoided, makes the nurse liable under RA 9173. One of the most common causes of liability in nursing is medication errors. These errors can occur at various stages, such as prescribing, dispensing, or administering. Common causes is misreading a label, incorrectly calculating a dose, or administering medication to the wrong patient. Therefore, it's important to always follow the rights of medication administration, which include ensuring you are giving the right medication to the right patient with the right dose at the right time and the right route. Now let's talk about intentional torts. These occur when a nurse's actions are deliberate and results in harm or violation of a patient's right. Examples of intentional torts include assault. This is threatening a patient with harm, such as saying, "If you don't take this medication, I'll restrain you." That could be assault. And we also have battery, which is physically administering a medication without consent. False imprisonment, using restraints without justification, or not allowing the client to go as he decides. Defamation, making false statements that harm a colleague's reputation. So if a nurse restrains a patient who simply wants to leave against medical advice, this could lead to a lawsuit for false imprisonment. The patient always have the right to sign an AMA form or against medical advice form unless they are legally incompetent. Patient confidentiality is sacred in nursing. The Data Privacy Act of 2012 ensures that personal health information is protected and shared only when necessary. So always remember to secure your patient's record, whether it be electronic or paper form. Avoid discussing your patient's cases in public places. And never post patient-related content on social media. Never share a background or a selfie with your patient in the background. This is a violation of our Data Privacy Act and could lead to a fine. Always think before you click, and most especially before you post. Social media can be a great platform to share our nursing insights, but it's also a legal minefield. Comments and posts can be considered public records. We nurses are held to the same professional standards online as we are in our workplaces. Again, never post identifiable patient information. Avoid venting about workplace or patient issues online. And always maintain a professional tone in all our communications, especially public communications. Accurate documentation is your best defense in legal cases. The medical chart serves as evidence in court, so it's critical to document objectively and factually. Always record all your observations, interventions, and of course, our patients' responses. Use direct quotes for your patients' complaints or statements. Avoid subjective language or assumptions. Incident reports are equally important. They are used to document unusual occurrences like patient falls or medication errors. Never ever hide these occurrences. These reports will help improve safety protocols. Like, for example, if a patient falls and it's not documented properly, the nurse may be held liable for negligence, even if the fall was unavoidable, which sometimes happen. Nurses are protected under various laws as long as they act within their scope of practice and adhere to institutional policies. Make sure to follow physicians' orders responsibly. Adhere to the standards outlined in our Nursing Act, RA 9173, and report unsafe practices. Like, for example, if you happen to find an ambiguous prescription, always clarify. Like, for example, you find it too high for your patient, always seek clarification. It's better not to do it if we are not sure. Unprofessional conduct includes like falsifying records, practicing without a license, or engaging in unethical behavior. These actions not only damage our reputation, but can also result in license suspension or even revocation under Republic Act 9173. Like, for example, if a nurse falsifies patient records to cover up an error, this could lead both to termination and legal action. Always prioritize integrity in our practice. As future nurses, understanding these legal aspects of our profession is critical to providing safe, ethical, and competent care. The laws we've discussed here serve as both guidelines and our safeguards. Always remember, prevention is better than defense. Staying informed, documenting diligently and practicing responsibly can protect our patients, our license, and our career.